Well, I grew up loving Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Like many people my age, I sort of had this early paperback with the Quentin Blake illustrations, and I read it from cover to cover. So often the pages fell out of the spine, and it was always a really special story and a special character for me. And when David Heyman, the producer, mentioned the idea of doing Young Wonka, I was immediately intrigued. And I went back and read the book again, and I'd remembered Willy Wonka and the Oompa Loompas and the kind of crazy, colourful chocolate factory. But what I'd forgotten about the book was how incredibly moving and emotional it is as well. And Charlie's this poor, long-suffering character, and you're really rooting for him. And at the end, when he inherits the factory, I found myself in floods of tears. And I thought, that's what's so great about this book, is it's funny, and it's colourful, and it's chaotic, but it's also got this really strong emotional spine. And I thought, it's such a wonderful world. It's sort of everything I've always loved about stories. It's everything I tried to do in the Paddington films, and the chance of being able to dip my toe into that world was too enticing for words. We wanted to make a film that would stand as a companion piece to the book and the 1971 movie, and not sort of have anything that would disrupt your enjoyment of those pieces. And we were interested in telling the story of Willy Wonka before he was famous and before he had the chocolate factories, when he was a sort of young man, first going out into the world and hoping to find a place which rewarded talent and hard work, and is startled and disappointed to discover the world is a tougher place than he first imagined. Timothée Chalamet is an extraordinary talent. I first came across him in Call Me By Your Name, and I was blown away by his performance in that. And then the same year I saw him in Lady Bird, where he was completely different and wildly funny, and I just knew from that moment he was an incredibly special talent. What Timothy does so brilliantly is he is able to sort of access the depths of human emotion and express them, while at the same time being very funny and very charming and incredibly precise, because we have huge song and dance sequences in this that required great precision and choreography, and he's able to seemingly keep all these plates spinning at once. It's a marvel to behold. The Oompa Loompas don't have much dialogue in the books or either of the films, and so I went back to the book. What they do have in the book are these very, very long songs, and they're very funny, but they're written as poems by Roald Dahl, but it's supposed to be the Oompa Loompas singing, and they're sort of pages long, and I was reading these, and they're so biting and sarcastic, and the Oompa Loompas seem to take this sort of gleeful pleasure in the demise of all the ghastly children touring the factory, and I just found Hugh's voice coming into my head. I've been lucky enough to work with him on Paddington 2, and once I had his voice in my head with an Oompa Loompa, it wasn't such a huge leap to imagine him 18 inches high with orange skin and bright green hair. And once that image is in your head, you've got to find some way of getting it out. So my way was to make it a reality. In this story, Willy Wonka has a young girl who he befriends called Noodle, and Willy's a very sort of childlike character. He's got an infectious enthusiasm for everything, a sort of recklessness, and a sense that everything will vaguely come out in the wash. He's a very sort of hopeful soul. Noodle is an old head on young shoulders, and she's grown up in this city, and she knows that she's sort of very much been to the school of hard knocks, and she knows that it's a tough place where everyone's out for themselves. So they're going to work together, and they will rub off on each other as the movie goes on. So Willy will give her a sense of hope and optimism in the future, and she will give him a dash of cynicism and reality, which helps turn him into the Willy Wonka we all know and love. Kayla is a wonderful talent. We auditioned literally thousands of young actors to find her, and it was a proper global search to find her, and I think she brings an absolute warmth and integrity and humour to the character, and she's just extraordinary.